What's up, fam? Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Today, we are finally taking a look at an Arcane Designs knife. This is a brand that I've been wanting to get behind for a long time. I have always respected Israel's designs. I've always loved his fit and finish work. You know who they have making the knives. I believe most of them are Riot, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Riot or BE.EDC.NC. I'll correct myself up here. But just for whatever reason, I had never pulled the trigger on one, never owned one until honestly the perfect version of one came across a Discord channel, and well, I had to pull the trigger on it. So we are taking a look here at the Arcane Designs Crypt. Now this is the Ancient Purple variant. Now this one does have a bit of a party trick in the fact that it has been flipper deleted. These knives do come with a flipper normally. What's up, fam? Interrupting your regularly scheduled programming with a little bit of an insert here. So people have asked for it, and he did it. So Israel has started a drop for the flipperless Crypts. Those are going live the day you're watching this. They went live at 10 a.m. Central. So 11 a.m. Eastern, these things are live. I'm actually going to make this video go live earlier than normal, just so you guys can see it ahead of time. But yeah, so these are live right now. I can't remember the color variants that he's doing, but you can pick up a flipperless Crypt right now on Arcane's website. So make sure y'all go check it out. All right, let's get back to the boring guy on the table. This one is done, by Paul. Paul Might on Instagram, and you'll see him here on YouTube a lot as well. But a really great job. This guy does some really fantastic customization. So you can see here it is an extremely clean flipper delete. Dude does really stellar work. Now I have carried and used this knife, so it has some schmutz on it. Let me go ahead and get that off here really quickly while we continue to talk about the knife. Again, I've been just really in love with a lot of these designs, and like I said, it's just one reason or another. It seems like it's always something, and just keeping me from grabbing one. But this one I really could not say no to. This was actually a drop that I wanted to get on when it first came across, and this was in one of those times when I just flat out didn't have the money at the time, so I had to miss out on the drop. But then, like I said, a guy on Discord, it's actually a pizza operator. He was letting his go, and so I went ahead and jumped on it. I could not say no to it, and I've absolutely been in love with it ever since. So the Crypt, they are still available. These are there's a couple of different versions. I will try to put those across here, across the screen, just so you guys can see what versions are available. I believe there's currently 3 versions that are still available. Price is anywhere between $370 and $380. I believe the $380 is for the satin version. Much like you see here on this blade, and then the other ones are stonewashed, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 3.75 inch blade. It is a 4.75 inch handle. It's a 8.5 inch overall knife, and then 4.8 ounces on that. So really nice weight for this size of a knife. From what I understand, the first run of the Crypts was limited to 800. So I don't know if the versions that are available now are still part of that limited run. But just keep that in mind, that I don't know if that, how long these will be around, or, how many of each one are left. But if it is a knife that you're interested in, or if you didn't realize that you could make one look like this fairly easily, then you may want to jump on one if it's something that you like. Personally, I really enjoy this blade shape. I really enjoy the way that he has done the cutouts here on the blade, and the overall design aesthetic of the knife just really speaks to me, quite honestly. Let's go ahead and jump into our close-ups on this, and then we'll go from there. So jumping in here, we do have a really beautiful anno job on this knife. Not quite sure how they got this finish, but it is really stellar. Beautiful, vibrant purple, and then you have the kind of the distressed, probably a PVD coating on there that's just been distressed out and allowing that anno to come through. Now, this knife has been heavily carried by myself, and I believe it was carried pretty substantially from the previous owner as well. So you're going to see some small scratching and things like that, like up in here, some snail trails and whatnot, but do have a small titanium backspacer here. No lefty love, no lanyard love coming around. We've got a pretty wore-in pocket clip. The pocket clip works very well. No issues with the pocket clip. You also see that there is no exposed hardware with the exception of one screw here, and then you have your pivot on this side. Other than that, that's the only 2 screws you see on the entire knife, which is really cool. Again, lots of hard angles here on this knife, but all of the edges are nicely chamfered. So the soft edges, but hard angles. Really cool design just in general. Take a look here. It is perfectly centered. That tip is spot on. Absolutely no issues with that tip at all. Go ahead and take a look at our lockup here. Lockup is, again, spot on. No issues there. Taking a look at that beautiful flipper delete job from Paul. You can see it's perfectly matched everything here, so no issues with that at all. So again, if anybody ever wanted to see a good close-up of his work, now you can certainly do so. So really great job there, no surprise. And we're taking a look at a beautiful kind of a Persian-esque blade here. Really nice satin blade. You got hand satin flats, and then kind of a high grit belt satin. And we've got some stone washing there, some sandblasting there inside the blade cutout. You have the Arcane logo. We do have a flat grind here. Really, really acute tip that does very, very well in the piercing. Got a few little nicks and stuff on the blade. Like I said, this knife has been loved quite a bit. We've got a really decent plunge grind. It does come down pretty quickly, and then of course you're in a finger twirl there, so it gives you lots of room for sharpening. The sharpening itself is done well. Now this, like I said, this knife is fairly heavily used, so it's time for a good sharpening, but yeah, I don't really have any issues with the way that it was sharpened from the factory. The edge looks very symmetrical, no problems. Again, really great lockup on that thing. Let's go ahead and check out the actual ergonomics of the knife. So again, in the hand, this thing feels phenomenal. I mean, it really does. It's just a little bit on the north end of what I typically like as far as size of blade, being 8.5 inches overall. But it really doesn't feel like a large knife. It doesn't handle like a large knife. It is sub 5 ounces, so it is a really, really good size blade for its weight. And then the action, of course, is just super smooth. Really nice hydraulic shut action. I love having a inset liner lock. That makes everything really comfortable. I don't have to worry about adding any pressure to a lock bar or anything like that. Allows you to really easily get this knife open. You can slow roll it really nicely. I think I can even, thumb flick this thing, get it open with some authority. Just a really, really great knife. Like I said, I don't feel any hot spots, anything like that. The choke up point is really nice. You can even come up in here and get in on that, thumb ramp, whatever you want to call it here, and just really have a ton of pressure into that belly on the blade. And then choke back, you have the jimping here, the oversized jimping that's really comfortable. Really gorgeous knife as well. I mean, it just looks wild, but then it doesn't feel wild in the hand. So it's just such a great job. We're going to do the hard task of checking the hardware here, all 2 pieces of it. Beautiful job there, and then beautiful job there. So I mean, no surprise at all on that. Now this is a larger blade, so again we are going to see it dwarf a lot of the other knives that we are showing here, especially the first several, and then after that we'll see how it compares with the final 2, the larger 2 knives in my collection. So we have the penguin there, and then the pyrite. So again, it's definitely going to dwarf those 2 knives. Same thing here with the drop bear. And Militol is going to be a little bit on the larger side, but still just slightly, I think slightly under 8 inches here on the Militol. We have the Bel Air. And then the Malibu. And now we'll bring in these the larger 2. Have the PM2, which is just slightly smaller. And then the MSI, which is just going to be just slightly larger. And not by a whole lot. Just again, just very, very slightly larger. So again, I cannot speak highly enough of Israel, and just he is such an awesome human being. I absolutely enjoy getting to speak with him every year at Blade Show, and especially Blade Show Texas. So if you guys do not know, he is a recent Texas transplant. So he has kind of taken over and really wanting to make Blade Show Texas a massive event every year. So he's doing a kind of the after party thing, kind of like what they have at kind of what they have at Atlanta, where you have the pit afterwards. So he's actually renting out, this year he rented out a comedy club. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing every year, but this year he rented out a comedy club, and, we, got to hang out. There's a whole bunch of us up there, and, he was doing prizes and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was just absolutely awesome that he did that. And, that was, he fit the bill on that. So, really, really cool of him to do that. And hopefully, it really helps with getting Blade Show Texas to be a more of a destination. I think it is one of my favorite shows, honestly. I think it's a lot more intimate than Blade Show Atlanta. So make sure you guys check that out if you're able to, and make sure you're checking out Arcane Designs if you haven't already. Hopefully I will be adding many more of his designs to my collection very soon. But yeah, guys, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Take care.